and welcome back to the show. Today we're doing a deep dive into something we all know and love, daily routines. But get this, we're not just doing them, we're writing of them. In English.
Ooh, exciting.
It is exciting. We've got some really cool source material for this one too. It's actually geared towards English language learners.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and it covers a pretty good range too, like A1 all the way up to B2.
So there's going to be something here for everyone, huh?
Absolutely. No matter where you are in your language learning journey, you're going to pick up some really useful tips and tricks.
Love that.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin with something like this? I mean, writing about daily routines, it sounds so simple, but then when you actually sit down to do it,
You're like, where do I even start?
totally.
Well, the source material actually gives us a really great starting point, and it's so simple yet effective. You ready for this? Making a list.
A list.
A list of daily activities.
Oh, okay.
And the source even gives us a bunch of verbs to get those ideas flowing.
Well, that's helpful. Like, what kind of verbs are we talking about?
Well, you've got your basic ones like, wake up, eat breakfast.
Yeah.
But then they throw in some more interesting ones like surf the internet or walk my dog.
Oh, I see.
And suddenly you're like, oh yeah, routines can be pretty diverse.
It's not all just, eat, sleep, work, repeat.
Exactly. There's so much more to it.
So just by making this list, you're already kind of setting yourself up for success.
For sure. It's like laying the groundwork. You're getting organized. You're thinking about the specific actions that make up your day.
It's like the brainstorming phase of writing.
Totally. And it's so important because, once you have that solid foundation, then you can start building on it and making it even better.
I like that. A solid foundation. So we've got our list of verbs. Now what?
Well, step 2 is all about putting those verbs into action. We're talking about present simple sentences, baby.
All right. The bread and butter of routine descriptions, huh?
Yeah, you got it. This is where we start to see our writing take shape.
So like, I wake up at 7 a.m. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast. Simple as that.
Well, yes and no. The source is actually pretty clear about this. They warn against stringing together a bunch of short, choppy sentences. Like, yeah, it's grammatically correct, but it doesn't exactly flow,
Right. It sounds kind of robotic and unnatural.
Exactly. We want our writing to sound more natural, more like how we actually speak.
So how do we avoid that? How do we make it flow better?
That, my friend, is where step 3 comes in. Adverbs of frequency.
Adverbs of frequency. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
These are those little words that can make a huge difference in your writing. We're talking always, usually, sometimes, never.
I see. So like, instead of saying, I eat cereal for breakfast, you could say, I usually eat cereal for breakfast.
Exactly. Or I never eat breakfast before 8:00.
Oh, I get it now. It adds more detail and makes it sound more, well, human.
It's like adding those little sprinkles of personality to your writing.
I love that. Sprinkles of personality.
And it also makes it more accurate, right? Our routines aren't always set in stone.
Totally. Like, I usually go to the gym after work, but sometimes I'm just too tired and end up on the couch instead.
Exactly. Life happens. And our writing should reflect that.
So we've got our verbs, we've got our present simple sentences, and we've sprinkled in some adverbs of frequency. What's next?
Well, now we need to think about how to connect all those sentences and create a smooth, coherent flow. And that, my friend, is where step 4 comes in.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What's step 4?
Connectors and time expressions.
Ooh, this sounds like we're getting into the nitty-gritty of good writing.
We are. And the source material actually gives this amazing example of a paragraph with and without connectors. And honestly, the difference is mind-blowing.
Really? Okay, now I have to see this example.
I know, right? It's crazy how much of a difference those little words can make. Like simply adding and, but, or because can totally transform a piece of writing.
So it's not just about the individual sentences, it's about how they all fit together.
Precisely. And then you add in time expressions like in the morning, after that, or from 9.0 to 5.0, and suddenly your writing has this clear structure and chronology. It's like you're giving the reader a roadmap to your day.
A roadmap, I like that. It makes it so much easier to follow along.
Right. It's like you're saying, okay, first I do this, then I do that, and after that I do this other thing.
It's like a little story unfolding.
It is, and it's so much more engaging than just reading a bunch of random sentences.
Okay, I'm totally on board with connectors and time expressions. They're like the secret sauce to good writing.
They really are.
So we've laid the groundwork, we've built our sentences, we've added some personality, and now we've connected it all. Are we ready for the final product?
Almost. But first, we need to take a little break. Don't worry, we'll be right back to reveal the magic of step 5 and see how everything comes together. Stay tuned.
Okay, so we left off on this big cliffhanger. Step 5, the final step,
The grand finale.
where it all comes together.
Exactly.
Drum roll, please. All right, so step 5 is all about structure. We're taking all those awesome sentences we've been crafting and we're organizing them into paragraphs.
Ooh, paragraphs. Fancy.
I know, right? But it's not just any kind of paragraph structure. We're talking about 3 specific paragraphs: morning, day, and evening.
Ah, so we're breaking down our routine into those 3 key parts of the day.
Exactly. And the source even gives us a super helpful example paragraph to show us how it's done.
Well, don't leave us hanging. Let's hear it.
All right, so it starts with, my day usually begins around 7 a.m. Right off the bat, we've got that time expression setting the scene.
And that good old present simple tense we were talking about.
Exactly. It's simple but effective. And then it goes on. After I wake up, I make a cup of coffee and check my emails for about an hour.
Okay, so we're already seeing those connectors and time expressions in action.
Right, we've got after to show the sequence of events and to connect those 2 actions. And then we've got that specific time frame for about an hour.
I like that. It's like we're getting a little glimpse into this person's morning routine.
Exactly. And notice how they use usually to acknowledge that, hey, maybe every day isn't exactly the same.
Adds a bit of realism, huh?
Totally. Routines are great, but let's be real, sometimes things don't go according to plan.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're through the morning. What happens next?
All right, so the paragraph moves on to the workday saying, at 8:30, I leave for work, which takes about 30 minutes by bus. Again, we see those time expressions and a clear sequence of events.
And a little bit more about how they get to work.
Right, it's not just, I go to work. They're giving us that extra detail about taking the bus.
Which tells us something about their lifestyle, maybe even where they live, right?
Exactly. It's all about those little details that paint a bigger picture.
So they're at work now. What's their job like?
Well, it says, I work in an office as a graphic designer, and my work usually involves designing websites and creating marketing materials.
Ah, so now we're getting into the specifics of their job. Right. And again, we see that present simple tense to describe their regular tasks.
And they're using and to connect those tasks, making it sound nice and natural.
Exactly. It's all about that flow.
Right, so morning routine, commute, work day. What about lunch? Do they even get a lunch break?
They do, it says. At 1.0, I have lunch with my coworkers in the cafeteria.
Oh, nice. A social lunch break.
I know, right? It's not just about eating, it's about connecting with colleagues.
It's those little social interactions that make a routine feel more, well, human.
Totally. Makes you wonder what they talk about, right?
You're right. Like, what are their coworkers like? What are their lunchtime conversations about? So much we could imagine just from that one sentence.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of good writing. It sparks our curiosity and makes us want to know more.
So morning routine, commute, work day, lunch. What about the evening? Do they tell us what they do after work?
Let's see. It says, I finish work at 5:30 p.m. and head straight home.
Okay, so they keep it pretty simple for the end of the workday. But that leaves a lot open to interpretation, huh?
It does.
Hmm.
It's like they're giving us a glimpse into their day, but they're leaving the evening a bit of a mystery.
Which, in a way, makes it even more interesting, right? We can kind of fill in the blanks ourselves.
Exactly. Maybe they have a relaxing evening routine. Maybe they're super active after work. Who knows?
The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. So there you have it. One super effective example paragraph that showcases how all those elements we talked about can come together to create a really engaging and informative piece of writing.
Even when it's about something as simple as a daily routine.
Exactly.
It's all in the details and how you put them together. I'm telling you, that example paragraph, it's like a masterclass in writing about daily routines.
It really is. And the cool thing is there's so much more to explore in the source material. You know, as you keep practicing these techniques, you'll discover even more ways to make your writing about routines, well, shine.
Okay, so before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap of all the awesome stuff we've learned today about writing about those daily routines. So first things first, we start with that list of activities, right?
Yep. And we use those vivid descriptive verbs, really capture the essence of what we do each day.
Right. Then we take those verbs and we start building sentences. Present simple sentences, to be exact.
Ah, yes. But we got to remember to mix things up a bit, vary those sentence lengths and structure so we don't sound like robots.
Totally. And then, of course, we add those adverbs of frequency, those little sprinkles of personality that make our writing more relatable and, well, more human.
And let's not forget those connectors and time expressions. Those are essential for creating that smooth, coherent flow